everyone. I'm Kathleen Koch. I'm a former longtime CNN correspondent. I'm also a professional speaker and moderator, founder of the nonprofit Leaders Link. But I'm here today because I am chair of the Howard County Community Organizations Active in Disaster, or otherwise known as the COAD. And that's how I got to know the fabulous woman who I'm about to interview, Bita Dayhoff, and she is president of the Community Action Council of Howard County. Bita, I have seen personally what wonderful things the Community Action Council has done in Howard County. But for those who don't know about it and what it does, could you explain to us?
Sure. Hi, Kathleen. It's wonderful and truly a pleasure to see you and be here with you and have the opportunity to talk about CAC and who we are and what we do. CAC is a private nonprofit organization in Howard County, and we are part of a network of national community action agencies with a mission to provide services to low-income families. And our focus is to really bring self-sufficiency to families who are struggling to make ends meet. And we accomplish our mission by providing 4 critical services that include energy assistance, housing assistance, early childhood education, and food assistance.
Tell us, Bita, exactly how you deliver those services to the many people in need here in Howard County.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I think that what makes us unique is that we deliver these services in a holistic fashion. We layer them on top of one another with an intention of not just providing a Band-Aid solution to the problem of here and now, but to help families move from the immediate crisis to stability and finally to self-sufficiency. So when a family comes to us, for example, for housing assistance, we clearly, first and foremost, help them make that housing crisis go away to the extent that we can. And then we sit down and we listen to them. We try to understand what more we can do to be of assistance. What was the root cause of the problem? And it could be that a family has young children at home, and mom made a decision not to go back to work because they cannot afford to pay the high cost of childcare. And it was more feasible to be unemployed than go back to work. So we work with them. We bring the children into our nationally accredited early childhood education program. And then we work with mom to gain employment that pays a livable wage. Or if parents need to go back to school, we support them through that process. So we layer all of our programs on top of one another to meet the basic needs of a family so that individuals can really focus on achieving their goals and becoming self-sufficient, if I can get that.
So it's really one-stop shopping, right? And I know food provision is a huge part of what you do. That's what I'm most familiar with.
Absolutely. It is a one-stop shop. We provide services that are intertwined with one another, because what research has shown time and time again is just providing food to a family doesn't necessarily make their financial crisis go away. It is about education, and it's about employment. So while we focus on helping families meet their immediate, most basic needs of food, shelter, and access to quality early childhood education, we basically wrap our arms around them with case management to make sure that we are really bringing an end to the vicious cycle of generational poverty.
Bita, can you help me understand how this benefits all of Howard County, all the citizens, when you help the neediest?
That's such a good question. I think because at the end of the day, we are all one. I remember when I was growing up, my mom would always say that we are like the 5 fingers in a hand. We are connected bonded to one another. And when one of the fingers is not working, there's a cut or is broken, the entire system is challenged by that. So that's how I see our society, very much connected. And I think the pandemic has, in a sense, awakened all of our senses to the existence of our oneness and the reality that we're all fragile, we're all vulnerable, and the fact that crisis can knock on anybody's door at any time. And when that happens, what do we need? What do we want? We want to know that our community is there for us, our friends are there for us. So more than anything else, and more than just feeling good about doing good, it's also, I see that it's important for the community because it's a matter of economics. Helping children today will result in high producing adults tomorrow, which creates thriving communities. And as an organization, we're all about prevention, preventing hunger, preventing homelessness, preventing lack of access to high quality early childhood education. And why do we focus on prevention? Because we know that an ounce of prevention works much better than a pound of cure. And that's why I think that helping families reach their full potential is good for all of us.
Bita, you mentioned the pandemic. It has been such a difficult year for all of us. I mean, that's an understatement. But talk to us about how it has impacted CAC and your operations, and how have you had to be really creative to deliver your services?
I smile when you ask me this question because you know the answer to this better than anybody else, given the fact that you were one of the absolute first people I came to right after the pandemic, the stay-at-home order from the governor, and asked you to help us. And you have graciously done so ever since.
Well, it was not just me, it was the entire Howard County Community Organizations Active in Disaster, our amazing team.
Absolutely, absolutely. As I said, we manage the Howard County Food Bank and provide food not only to families, but also 14 partner pantries that receive food from us in order for them to be able to distribute it throughout Howard County. So when the governor issued the stay-at-home order, we found 10, within 24 hours, 10 of our 24 pantries closed down. So that's when I came to you and pitched the idea of a pop-up. We knew that families could no longer come to us to get food, so we needed to go to them. So you and the community and COAD really within 24 hours, it seems, created this army of volunteers who helped us stand up 53 pop-up pantries since end of March. And throughout that time, we've supported 53,000 people, distributed more than 1.3 million pounds of food to our community. So it's been incredible.
But I know it affected your other operations too, not just food provision, right?
Exactly. I mean, we got a little bit of a reprieve with our housing and energy assistance because there was a moratorium not to evict families from their homes and not to issue turnoffs with the electricity. So we really put our focus in our early childhood education program and food services. In our early childhood education program, we serve 322 3- and 4-year-olds and their families out of 4 sites. So within a 3-week period, we were able to launch online learning, virtual learning. And given the fact that most of the families that we serve are low-income families, especially in our Head Start program, we needed to make sure that each and every family had the technology that they needed in order to be able to log on and participate in online learning. So we provided all of our families computers and iPads and access to internet in order for them to do that.
Bita, I know that you have a very special story yourself about how you became president of CAC. Share with us that story and where this passion comes from.
I am always a little bit shy talking about myself, so thank you for asking that question. I'm from Iran, as you can probably, well, I have an accent, so you know I wasn't born here. I was born in Iran, and I came to the United States at the cusp of the Iranian Revolution. And as I had just turned 13, as a teenager, trying to find who I am and learn life. Um, and I came to the United States to under the impression that we're just going to be here for a couple of months and everything would blow over. And here we are some 40 plus years later. So it wasn't an easy time. And I learned a lot about how lack of hope, lack of resources, lack of opportunity can cause havoc on a nation and send families on an exodus around the world, really. So, you know, basically, I just kind of kept my head down. I went to school, I got a degree in finance, I got my MBA, and I chose to devote my life to helping other people by giving them hope for a better future. And knowing that there wasn't much I could do in Iran, but I wanted to make my corner of the world a better place than I found it right here in America. It's been an honor and a privilege to work for this incredible organization and to lead it for the past 11 years. And I have to say that CAC is, even taking my biased hat off about CAC, is just filled with talented, skilled, and smart individuals who are just really good humans. And I'm honored to work here.
Well, I know they're honored to have you as the person in charge. Everyone there is just incredible. Um, let's talk a little bit about a couple of different things like food donations, since you do run the Howard County Food Pantry. Can people who are watching this interview, if they wanted to donate food, bring some actual items over, are you accepting them? How do they go about that?
Absolutely, we are accepting food at our food bank. We're open every day. They can bring donations to the food bank between 9 and 3 o'clock on any given day. And we're also open on Saturdays. Food commodities is much appreciated, especially now that kiddos are home. Just staple products like tuna and proteins and peanut butter and jelly and especially fruit cups. Kids like that a lot and need to have that. Financial donations would also be very much appreciated because it gives us the freedom to make a purchase based on our inventory and what we have and what we need to buy.
Earlier you mentioned the moratorium that had existed, the Governor Larry Hogan's moratorium on utility shutoffs. That has been lifted, and eventually I know that the moratorium on evictions is going to expire as well, and they will be able to proceed. So what is CAC's plan to help those who are currently in need of utilities and might soon be in need of housing?
Yeah, I mean, really COVID-19 and the actions that have had to be taken to keep people safe have caused havoc on families' financial health. So, and we are seeing the ramifications of that. Utility assistance applications are pouring into our organization. We've so far received 2,500 applications for assistance, and staff are just kind of working their way through it. We have, I think, completed about 1,500 of them. So if families find themselves in a place where they are struggling to pay their utility bills, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. The same thing with housing assistance. We are getting funding from the county government and the federal government through the CARES Act to provide support, housing assistance support to families. And this funding is really special because it provides between 3 to 6 months of assistance to families who have been financially negatively impacted because of COVID-19.
Now, Bita, I know that the CARES Act funding that has been allocated is generally, it has to be used by the end of the year and then it stops. Is there more in the pipeline for you, more federal funding?
We are hoping so. We've heard that we are going to be receiving a $2 million grant subsequent to this second round of CARES funding that we received that, as you said, exactly ends on December 31st. So we have families who have applied to us. We've put them on a waiting list in hopes that the other funding is going to become available. So I encourage others who have not applied and find themselves in a position of need, please reach out to us.
So, Bita, in conclusion, I'd like to ask, how can anyone who's watching this interview, how can they learn more about CAC, about what you're doing, and really get involved to help, support your mission during this time of such great need?
Thank you for asking that question. A message I really want to convey is that how in Howard County we have a reputation, which is a double-edged sword in a sense. Our reputation is that we are a very affluent community, which is true, and it's fantastic. It brings with it an amazing quality of life for so many people, and that's why people want to live here. But there is another side of the truth, and that is that 30% of our residents here in Howard County are struggling to make ends meet. They struggle to pay rent, they struggle to buy food, they struggle to pay their electric bill. And so that's the side of the story that I try to convey on an ongoing basis. And the pictures that we see on TV with people in their cars waiting to get food, that's just not in Texas. It's not just in Florida. It's happening.
I saw it.
Exactly, and you've been there. You've been there handing out food, and you've seen it with your own eyes. So I say all of that to say that the generosity of the community is really what keeps us going. The funding that we get from governmental sources are amazing, but they come with restrictions that may not allow us to help as many people as we want, and people who have different circumstances and may not meet the very strict eligibility requirements of the governmental grants, and which doesn't define their level of need. So please give us a hand in supporting families. You can go to our website, which is www.cac-hc.org. And my community engagement director would not be happy with me if I did not say that with a $50 donation, you can help a family of 4 receive food from us for a whole week. And a $1,000 donation supports educating a child in our early childhood education program, and a $500 donation helps us support people stay in their home and keep their lights and heat on over the winter. Thank you.
And Bita, I'm just going to give you a chance to, share one final thought with our audience, a sort of surprise question here about, what you do, how important it is, and just sort of maybe what you've learned as a result of what we've all been through over the last year.
I have learned that I'm blessed to live in a country and a community that is so generous and so giving and so caring, regardless of the challenges that we face. We know that we are going to, once we get through this, we are going to look back and be really proud of the way we stood up tall and supported one another throughout this process.
Perfect way to close. Thank you so much, Bita. And thank you to Citybiz List for giving us this opportunity to chat. We know one another well, but I'm so thrilled to share the mission of CAC with the Baltimore area at large. And again, thank you to Bita for you and all your team does for Howard County. I know you have the gratitude of those who you help directly, but you also have the gratitude of the residents, the entire county, myself included. So thank you. And thank you everyone for watching.